All right, let's talk about what might just be the world's most effective and most invisible intelligence service. The wild part, officially, it doesn't even exist. We're diving into the story of the Vatican's silent network. And right away, you run into this incredible paradox. On one side, you've got Vatican City. It's just 44 acres. I mean, that's the smallest sovereign state on the entire planet. But on the other side, you have what insiders supposedly call the entity, a silent, secret network with a reach that spans the globe. So the big question is, how on earth is that even possible? So let's get into it. How does this whole thing supposedly work? We're about to explore a service that's said to have been operating for centuries, hiding right out in the open, but somehow staying completely invisible. Okay, so this operation has an unofficial name, the entity. And you gotta understand, this isn't like the CIA or MI6. There's no big headquarters, no public director. It's described as something much more fluid. Think of it as a network of human assets, people who are just deeply embedded in societies all over the world. And here's where the scale just becomes mind-boggling. 1.2 billion. That's the potential recruitment pool we're talking about. With that many Catholics worldwide, the network could have unparalleled access to human intelligence. I mean, we're talking about people from literally every walk of life in every single country. And this access isn't just theoretical. It's formalized through their diplomatic core. The Vatican has these officials called apostolic nuncios. They're basically ambassadors who hold both diplomatic and religious authority, and they have them in 180 countries. Just think about that. That's a diplomatic footprint bigger than many global superpowers. It gives them official cover in almost every corner of the globe. Okay, so next up, confessionals, not gadgets. See, what supposedly sets this network apart isn't spy satellites or crazy high-tech gadgets. Its real power comes from something way more low-tech, a uniquely human approach. So the key players here, they're not trained assassins or elite hackers. They're priests, nuns, monks, diplomats. And think about it, they don't need to bug a room or crack a password, because some of the world's most sensitive information is often brought directly to them, willingly. So it really boils down to this simple three-step flow of information. First, at the very top, you have the nuncios gathering political and military intel through their official diplomatic channels. Then, on the ground level, you have the clergy hearing confessions from, well, everyone. Generals, politicians, maybe even mafia bosses. And finally, all of that incredibly sensitive information is allegedly relayed back to Rome using covert channels. Now, this part is pretty wild. It shows one of the most remarkable claims about just how subtle this network might be. The theory goes that public media, stuff like Vatican Radio or their official newspaper, could be used to send coded messages hidden right in plain sight. You know, a slight change in a broadcast schedule, a very specific turn of phrase. It would be completely unintelligible to you or me, but crystal clear to the person it was meant for. Okay, I know this all might sound like something straight out of a spy novel, but the source material points to a very long history of real-world events that suggest this network has been active for a long, long time, often finding itself right at the center of huge international scandals. You can actually trace the precedent for this back over a century ago. There was this group called the Sodalitium Pianum. It was basically Pope Pius X's secret police, a kind of anti-modernist intelligence network that built files on priests they suspected of heresy. Now, it was officially shut down, but some historians argue that its methods didn't disappear. They just went deeper underground. And this timeline shows some key moments where the Vatican's hidden hand was allegedly at play. You've got the 1940s and the so-called Ratlines that reportedly helped Nazi war criminals escape Europe. Then you jump to the back-channel dealings after the assassination attempt on Pope John Paul II in '81, the huge Banco Ambrosiano scandal in '83, and then the really shocking Vatileaks revelations in 2013. Let's zoom in on that Banco Ambrosiano scandal because it's a perfect example. So the Vatican Bank gets caught up in this massive money laundering scheme. The official story? An internal investigation clears the church, no wrongdoing. But, according to documents that were leaked in 2025, senior cardinals were supposedly fully aware of the whole operation. And the key figure in all of it, Roberto Calvi, well, he met a very public and very grisly end. Okay, now let's fast forward to 2013. You get the Vatileaks scandal. This was huge. Documents leaked by Pope Benedict's own butler that revealed all this corruption and infighting. But the real bombshell, the part that shocked everyone, was this hint of an active internal intelligence unit, an entity that was apparently monitoring the cardinals themselves. So that brings us to our next section, the network today. Because according to the source material we're looking at, this isn't just ancient history. The network is allegedly as active as it's ever been, just adapting its methods for the 21st century. And in 2025, a couple of major claims surfaced. First, letters from a former nuncio named Carlo Maria Viganò allege that the Vatican is still running covert surveillance on its own bishops and even on secular politicians. And then, Italian media started reporting that Vatican diplomats were quietly passing military intelligence connected to the conflict in Ukraine. And this really highlights the alleged modern strategy, right? You maintain this public image of absolute neutrality, the dove of peace, while behind the scenes you're operating as a major intelligence player, a real king on the geopolitical chessboard. And this quote, this is from a former nuncio in 2025, and it just perfectly captures the whole philosophy. He said, "We don't need spies. Everyone comes to us." I mean, why would you need to build a traditional spy agency when the world's biggest secrets are willingly brought right to your door, whispered in confidence? Which leads us to the ultimate question. If this network really does exist, what's the true source of its power? What makes it so durable, so resilient? Well, it seems to rest on these four incredible pillars of plausible deniability. First, there's moral authority. Any action can be framed as pastoral care, not spying. Second, you have this secrecy of the confessional, which is this nearly unbreakable shield, both legally and morally. Third, its diplomats have immunity. And fourth, it has its own bank, which is famously opaque and has no real external oversight. When you put it all together, it's kind of the perfect storm for a covert operation. And that brings us to the final, really provocative thought from our source material. Could the entity's greatest strength be the simple fact that, to most of the world, it just doesn't exist?